support for the Cuban people basically means that the services and the places you stay, and all the money that you spend when you go to Cuba, that most all of it should go to the Cuban people, which means going to private restaurants, which are called paladares, staying at casa particulares, which is where Cubans own their own private home, or there's a host, but it's privately owned. It's not a government-owned hotel. Also arranging, private dance lessons, which we do for you, as well as private music lessons. Anything you can do to support the Cuban people, bringing musical instrument gear, horn oils, drumsticks, drum heads, guitar strings, any of those little things that are pretty easy for Americans to find in a music store, may be extremely hard to find in Cuba. So a lot of our tours, we like to go to a children's music school. So when we go to the children's music school, we like to bring items to them. That is supporting the Cuban people, because we're giving that directly to the Cuban people. So in our tours, and if you travel as an individual, you should have a full-time itinerary that occupies a full-time schedule of meaningful interactions with the Cuban people that support the Cuban people. And that is staying in a casa particular, that is going out to eat at a private restaurant. All those things constitute towards your full-time itinerary. Now, the full-time itinerary is, the government rules say a full-time itinerary, but it doesn't actually say what full-time is or how many hours that is. Based on conversations with my travel attorney and other people in the industry, that we assume that's a 40-hour work week. Otherwise, that rule is vague. So if you're only there for 3 or 4 days, then you might want to prorate what a 40-hour work week would look like in that. So if you are there for 4 days, 3 days is a full-time schedule, and maybe on the 4th day you could have a little bit of free time. Just make sure that the reason why you're traveling and everything you're doing is actually supporting the Cuban people. With the new regulations, we don't know if there's going to be any sort of auditing in the future, and they may want to see your itinerary. You're supposed to keep your itinerary for 5 years, supposed to keep your receipts for 5 years. So just make sure that you take all this seriously, and you don't let that keep you from traveling to Cuba as well.